In this lecture, we guys will be talking about Python classes and objects. Python is an object-oriented programming language, as we all know. Almost everything in Python is an object with its properties and methods. A class is like an object constructor or a blueprint for creating objects. Now, how can we create a class on a Python platform? So to create a class, we need to use this keyword called class. Now let's understand this thing with the help of an example. So this is a keyword which you guys can make use of for creating a class, and then you can define a name over here. Let's say my class, and then you need to put a colon, and here if you'll pass this command x is equals 5. So this is how you can create a class and declare some variable inside that class. Fine. Now how can you create an object? Now we can use the class named my class to create objects. For doing that, we can make use of a variable first. Let's say p1 is equal to my class. Okay, so this is an object which we have created for this class over here. Fine. And now if suppose you want to fetch the value of this x which we have defined inside this class, then for that you can make use of this object. What you have to do, you have to write down like this p1.x. Now p1.x is going to fetch the value of x from this my class. Just because right now we guys are using this object which we have created for this class for fetching the value of this x variable that is there present inside this class called my class. And this is what you will get as an output. Now comes the init function. See, the examples of our classes and objects in their simplest form and are not really useful in real life applications. To understand the meaning of classes, we have to understand the built-in init function. All classes have a function called init. Init stands for initialize, okay, which is always executed when the class is being initiated. Use this method, or you can say function, to assign values to object properties or other operations that are necessary to do when the object is being created. Let's understand this with the help of an example. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a class named person using this init method to assign values for name and age. So this is what this is an example with which I think we'll be able to understand this init method in a more better way. So for writing this init method, what you have to do, see, the first thing that you have to remember is this def keyword. If you're defining a function on this Python platform, this is a keyword you need to make use of. Now after that you need to put two underscores, and then you need to write down init like this. Okay, and after that you need to put two more underscores, and then you can define an object named self, and then a name, and then age. Now how are we going to use this object for fetching the values of this name and age variable? So for doing that, sorry, I am getting an error over here. Why is it so? I haven't placed a colon after this. That's the reason I am getting an error. Let's now copy this code and put it over here and place a colon after this. So now I'll not be getting any kind of error. So in order to call these variables which we have defined for this function over here, we can do it like this: self.name is equals to name, and self.age is equals to age. Fine. Now what we can do, we can create an object for this class named person. Okay, what is the class named person, and inside this we can pass two values for these two variables that we have made use of for this init method. So automatically whatever values you're going to pass here, they are going to go here in these two variables. They are going to get saved in these two variables. How? Let's now check that. So let's pass a name over here. This is the value that I'm passing for this variable name, and this one for the age. Okay, so if suppose you want to print the name, what you have to do, you just have to pass a command like this, print p1 dot name. Now what will happen, see these two values which you have passed over here, they are going to get saved here in these two variables. And if you want to pull the values of these two variables, so you can make use of this object which we have defined over here for this function, for this class person, and this is what you are going to get as an output. Similarly, if you will pass a command like this, p1.age, this is what you will get as an output. So that's how you can create objects for a particular class, and also you can fetch the information or the values of the variables you have used for a particular function that you have used inside that class. Fine, so this is a method that you need to remember. Now let's come on object methods. See, objects can also contain methods. Methods in objects are functions that belong to the object. So what we can do, let's create a method in the person class. For doing that, let's do one thing. Let's make use of this code once again, and let's put it over here. Fine. Now let's have two functions inside this class named person. So for doing that, we can define the second function over here like this. So this is the name that I'm giving to the second function. Now here the object that I'm going to pass is this self, which I've made use here in the first one. Fine, and after that we can print something. Let's say hello, my name is. After that we can use a concatenation operator, and in order to fetch the value of this name variable, we can make use of this self object to pull the value of this name variable over here, and this is how we will be able to get the output. So first of all, we need to pass some values for these two variables, right? How can we do that? Again, we need to create an object for this class named person we created over here. So this is how we can do it, and let's pass two different values for two different variables, name and age, here inside this person class, sorry. And for calling this second function, in which we have passed this self as a parameter, what we can do, we can define it somewhat like this, and in between we need to place a dot. This is what you are going to get as an output. So this is a function. This function, how this is going to get executed, see, when you will create an object for this class, these two values are going to get saved inside these two variables, just because of this code that we have defined over here. Self.name is equals to name, self.age is equals to age. So whatever the value of name will be, it is John, which will be fetched from here and it will get saved here. Now self.name is equals to name, so the value that is there inside this name variable, it is going to get saved in this self.name. And what are we guys doing? We guys are calling this self.name here inside this second function. Okay, so when you will call this function using this object which we have created for this class, inside which we have defined this function. So this is how you need to do it. First thing is the syntax that you need to remember, and you don't have to pass anything inside this function as a parameter, just because we already have the value. The this function is going to fetch the value for this self parameter from this function. Okay, so that's how this the execution of this these two functions is going to take place here. Now let's come on. How can you modify object properties? So if you want to suppose modify the object property, let's say if you want to modify the age, here we have passed 36 as a value for this age, and if you will print this thing, let's see what are we going to get. Print p1 dot age. So this is what you're going to get as an output. Now if you want to modify this the value of age, what you can do, you can do it like this: p1 dot age is equals to 40. And now let's see what are we going to get. p1 dot age. So that's how you can modify the value of any variable you have passed as a parameter for a particular function. If you want to delete any object, if you want to delete object properties, you can delete properties of an object by using del keyword. So this is a keyword, and that's how you can delete the object properties. Fine. Now if you will print the value of p1 dot age, let's see what are you going to get. So this is the error message which is going to get reflected on this screen. Person object has no attribute age because age has already been deleted. We have already deleted this age variable using this del keyword. Likewise, if you want to delete any object, see p1 is an object which we have defined for this class person. If you want to delete it, again you can make use of this del keyword, and you can pass a command like this del p1, and this p1 will get deleted. Okay. So this is it for today's lecture. Hope you enjoyed it a lot. Please do try it on your own. Thank you very much, and God bless you all with a great future. Have a great day. Bye bye.